Good morning. Um, Something I want to share on your accountability and responsibility regarding your involvement around everything that you do in alignment with how the body works, how your body works. And as I've said, the body only heals and adapts, and this all doesn't change. There's no exceptions. This all doesn't change in emergency situations either. It's a little simpler and calmer to state when things are moving at a pace where you can gather your words and think about what in trial and error maybe, or do some research, or test out, or ask somebody's opinion on. But then when you're thrown into a scenario where you don't have that time, that it's a sprint, things are coming at you at Mach 10, you're sipping from a fire hose, and you're truly going to be tested on how you live and what you believe in an emergency scenario. And I have seen a majority of people who are like, I get what you're saying, I get how the body works, I get how, but then when a surgery comes up, they throw it all out the window. Or when an emergency comes up, and as I've said before, emergencies are all relative, depending on how you view things, how you live, and how you view the body. Because there's true emergencies with how the body is designed are so few and far between. You really wouldn't, they're just not there. But we bloom in emergency care. Like, everyone's an expert in emergencies. It's kind of scary, sickening, and a little dark comedy too, that we're just so good at giving people advice during emergencies, but then when we actually are living our lives on the day-to-day, are just all over the place. But that's how it's designed, right? Like we've created emergency care to bleed into all forms of medicine, and then using that, extracting to everything, every case. So even when you are tiptoeing along and then all of a sudden emergency, your accountability and responsibility for how you live still is, it's amplified even more so at that moment. Because people try to make fun of, like, oh, I bet you were thinking, like, in an emergency, yeah, your sunlight and sunning your balls, or doing, eating fruit or doing whatever. It's like, well, no, not during those moments, but everything that I had done and why those things are in my life then get to process the decisions that I make during an emergency situation. So as much as people want to kind of mock how I live, or Cassie lives, or somebody else lives, when in an emergency, it doesn't change, and that's when it really gets to show up. And so it was during that time, as soon as I hit the car stopped spinning, and I'm taking an assessment and looking around, and I go into detail on this on the subscription page. I'm not going to on this. If you want to go over there's a deeper, detailed story on that. But my assessment and my accountability and responsibility for what I could actually do, because I wasn't unconscious. Being unconscious and then blaming a hospital system, or blaming a doctor, or blaming a procedure, you're still alive. Being unconscious and coming out and understanding what was done to you during those moments, it's just like being born to parents who decided to live a certain way under certain beliefs and certain values, and while you were growing and you chose to embody that person, and you came out and you acquired how they were living, and you just have healing responses to how they lived. That's not on them, that's on you. So it's no different. You're fully responsible, fully accountable for that. And so that started as soon as I hit the ambulance. Noticed the ladybug. Okay, then I started at my feet and started going up my body. What am I feeling? What's the status? What's going on? Because I know what they're going to say, but I need to know what I am feeling and saying, because they're just measuring what I'm feeling. And I still get the final say. And that's something I need people to understand. Even in emergency care, you have full go on determining where you're headed in this whole thing. There's no time where being a victim is suitable. or a worthy excuse. And so it was at that moment I started doing my checks and balances on me, knowing that when I was going to get to the hospital, it was going to be this fucking whirlwind of, I didn't know it was actually going to be like that. I thought it was going to actually be a little different, but it was interesting, and I'll share more stories over on the subscription page and briefly on here. But again, accountability, responsibility for how you live and how you what your body is doing, because it doesn't stop healing and adapting even in emergencies. That's what it does. All processes, all tests, all exams, all imaging, all everything, they're just measuring healing responses. It's just your body responding to the choices you made in your life, and you are fully in the driver's seat as long as you're conscious. If you're not conscious, then we got automated responses, and then other people are going to make decisions for you, and then you come to. Now it's on you. Back to it, assuming you come to. And if you don't come to, you've gone off to some really cool place where body's designed to peacefully transition no matter what happens. That we know. Where we go, I don't know. I just think the body's designed to have it peacefully occur. Equip you to carry you to the next level. So yeah, if you want deeper details on this and deeper personal details as to the account of that event, that stage of the event, subscription page. But point of this on the main page here is you are fully accountable and responsible. Your body only heals and adapts. There is no exceptions, even in emergency care. And if the excuse is, well, I was unconscious and all these things happened to me, but you awoke, all right, just like you were born. Not mom and dad's fault, not doctor's fault, not everybody's being perfectly who they're being with where they're at, with what they know, with what they believe at the time. So you, in the end, determine where this is headed and how you live, if it's true to how a human is designed. When an emergency presents itself in sprint pace, you don't waver. You're not balancing on that beam and fall off and just go to this alternative lifestyle. It's like, I don't even know what I believe. That's why I'm so insistent on my message and passionate and urgent about how I speak about how I live, because we can't predict, or we can actually, but when an emergency arises, it shouldn't, we default to exactly how we've lived up until that moment. It doesn't change. The rules and laws do not change because an emergency is down there. And you get to actually decide and define what an emergency truly is, and you can keep your shit together no matter what's going on around, where people viewing in can have their different views of it, but you can, in the face of it, sit and take in more information to make decisions for you, or if you're helping somebody else. So yeah, deeper dive on the subscription page, but that's where I want to go into on this one. Hope you guys understood. Have a good weekend, everybody.